Why did that take so long?
That is crazy.
Why did it take so long?
Oh no, technology, baby.
Hey, but you know what? I wonder if so now usually what you can see is you can see like a list of comments and stuff like that, but
Like I still
I,
can't type
yeah,
or say
we'll
nothing.
see. We'll see here in a minute. I usually get a lot of followers on these. I had like on the other ones, the ones that I was just trying to get you on,
Hmm.
I had like 25 each, and I was only on there for like 5, 10 minutes a piece.
Damn.
But usually we'll see how it feeds if it starts to come up or anything. So what have you
Like
been
I
doing today?
shit working. That's it.
Cruising these streets.
That's it, man. Chopping down blocks. That's really it. I deal with a lot of foreigners and shit, and it's just a little bit more extra work with them. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, since we're live, I should have said this. What you should introduce yourself because you're on my live, so a lot of people already know who I am.
yeah, but we ain't got nobody on here yet, though. Oh, but are you filming
There,
this?
but the video's going, so it's gonna stay on my
Oh, it's gonna
YouTube. You
stay.
know what I mean?
Okay, bet. Yo, 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 yo. Um, shit, man.
Introduce
My
yourself.
name is Paul. What's up, Drew?
Paul,
Drew. Um, I've been knowing Drew for fuck, man, since we were kids, man. Since like at least 30 plus years.
been a long time. It's been a
Yeah.
real long time.
Like let's say we're at like 37. Cause like we had to be around 10 years old when we linked up.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say 88 ish, 87, something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's been like
Yeah,
30.
I'd have been about. I'd have been 10 years old.
Yeah. It's been about 37, 38 years we've known each other. That's crazy work.
Yeah,
And you know what? We ain't never made no money with each other.
we've
In
been. Hey,
30
we've been talking,
fucking years.
but we've been talking about it. We've been talking about it.
Damn.
It just you just got too busy. It all fell
Not even a
through.
dollar. Not even not even a
But you know
dollar.
what? That's not a bad thing either. Like sometimes it's better to keep business and
Yeah, for
some
sure, for sure.
some things separate.
Yeah, for sure. But like I've got homeboys that I've known for 20 plus years, and we will not do business with. I will not do business with them. It just is what it is. I
Yeah, so
can't.
that's what I mean. When they say don't do business with friends and family and stuff like that, I really
Yeah,
disagree. I disagree with that. But there's definitely friends that I wouldn't do business with, and there's family that I wouldn't do business with.
for sure,
So
for sure.
see now we got a couple people jumping on. So we got some people jumping on now. We
What's up,
got
couple people?
yeah,
What up? So I'm one of Drew's homeboys from the past. We've been rocking with each other for at least 37, 38 years, and
yeah.
yeah, we just we're as of lately we just really started connecting again. You know what I mean? Like on a more consistent basis.
Yeah.
Um, you got you got some ideas though up your sleeve.
I I really do. Clearly I'm in a bind, but I'm always in a bind. I got something that I think that really work, and it's we talked about kind of integrating some ideas, bringing some things together, but um, beyond that, you know what I need, Paul, right now? I
What's
need a
that?
laptop. I need a laptop, son. You got something for cash?
Here's the crazy part. So the other day I woke up, right? No, the
here's, the,
day I
here's the
woke up
crazy part.
and and I had just opened up my laptop, and for some reason it started to sound like a fucking lawnmower. It
Oh
was like
yeah,
so I hurried up, took it down the street to this shop, and I was like, "Listen," she was like, "Damn, this is a MacBook. We normally just do Windows." And she was like, "It sounds like a fan might be broke." And I was like, "How much to replace it?" And she was like, "It's gonna be probably like 250, 300." I was like, "Damn." So I got on Facebook and started looking for Macs. They got them as dirt cheap as $150.
right. I
Dirt cheap.
wouldn't. But I don't know if I would trust somebody else's old laptop. You know what I mean?
Was the everything I buy, like the laptop I got, is a laptop that was I bought for like $200 off of Facebook, literally. It
Really?
just completely wiped. Like it was
And they
completely wiped.
they lasted you for a while?
I bought it like 3 years ago.
Really?
Like I'm a cheapo. Like that's why the
Well,
fan. Like and I what I'm gonna tell you, she charged me $60 because she was like the fan wasn't broke, it was just dirty. So she cleaned it up for me, and I was just gonna buy a new one, but I don't mind trusting like somebody else's laptop because let's say you buy a laptop from a motherfucker and then they got kitty porn or some weird shit on there, but they wiped it. But like all that shit is time stamped. Like where you do stuff at, I don't give a fuck if you got a VPN, fake VPN or not. Like so, if the police was like, "Oh man, you got kitty porn on here," I'm like, "Bro, look at the timestamp.
right.
Everything it's all timestamp." So,
But
um,
see, like all this stuff you're even talking about, I don't even want to get involved in anything like that. That's why I would never get a somebody's used anything, you know? I'm not invited to no parties. I'm not going to nobody's party. I think my boy froze up over there. Man, I think my friend froze up on the other side. We've been trying to do this live for like 40 minutes. He might have to get out and get back in. Let me see. Whoa. Yeah, it looks like he froze up. He had to get out. My crush. I don't have no crushes. What do you think? This is like middle school? It's not crushes. Let's see if my buddy gets back in. I don't even know who that is. Ortega? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd have to say yes. I'd have to say yes to Beyonce, but I don't know her. You know what I mean? Like all these people, celebrities and whatever else, like whatever. You don't know them, so how can you like somebody you don't know in person or don't talk to personally? He's back.
my
He's
hey,
back.
my battery died
Oh, how are you gonna be on live and let your battery die, bro?
because I was in my car with no charger, and we was going trying to figure this shit out. We was trying to figure it out.
Man,
Okay, so I'm back.
dropping the ball.
But yeah, I'm a cheapo, bro. So like, I don't mind secondhand electronics and secondhand phone. Like I got an iPhone 13. I don't care about the latest or greatest and none of that. You
Well,
know,
I mean, who would want to pick up like Joe Biden's son's laptop from the mechanic's shop?
I would.
You
I'll
know what
put
I
it
mean?
on eBay. I'll eBay. Especially
that
Biden's laptop. Ain't no telling that.
that would be a rough gig.
Nah, but they wipe them clean though. Like you should. What are you using it for? Let me ask you that first of all. What are you gonna be using the laptop for?
I mean, anything personal, but what I'm saying is I don't really trust. I don't think I've ever trusted secondhand electronics. It has to like I could buy it new from like secondhand, but like,
Refurbished,
say some,
like,
like, no, if somebody bought something that they didn't really want, I could do that, but
right.
I can't buy somebody who's already been on it, used it, blah, blah, blah. They pass it off to me. Somebody kicks my door down looking for somebody that's not there. Like, I'm not doing it.
I think you're too paranoid, man. Like, this is my laptop, right? I've had it for whatever,
Yeah.
3 years. Works perfectly fine. It's an electronic. I beat it up. It's meant to be replaced. You know what I mean? Like, it's not meant to last forever. I don't know. Let me ask
See,
you this.
see, your guy down here, he's already saying you crack him up. Like one of my followers, he's already some of these people they're already subscribed to my channel. So like they know me, but they don't know you. So he's like, yeah, your buddy's funny or whatever.
So it's crazy. Like, you got it. Like, I don't know if they can see my name, like my YouTube name, right?
They can't. I don't think they can right now.
Okay. My. What did
But
you think when you see my YouTube name? You didn't even flinch. You was just like, okay. Or did you say damn? I thought you said damn or something.
I was like, okay, Jesus, like,
Jesus
but
kill
I
us.
wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna say the rest. I was just gonna like, all right, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
So what is today? Today is Easter, right? So this is the day that Jesus rose,
Yeah.
and this is the day we went live. So it's
Oh,
monumental.
hey, there you go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
We're resurrecting our friendship.
Hey, you want to get in a real interesting conversation right now?
What's that?
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Guess who I just ran into at the store?
Nick.
I'm gonna say his first name is Mickey,
Sis,
but last name S. I won't say his last name because I don't want to put him on blast.
I think I might have just Mickey, dark skinned Mickey.
Yeah, you know Mickey.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody knows Mickey from around the way.
yeah.
So, anyways, he was like, "Hey, man, I didn't know he studied psychology in college."
Yeah.
So I just ran into him. We just started having this conversation. But he ended up sending me the video with KRS-One when he was, and KRS-One talks about Freemasonry and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And basically, it was KRS-One's explanation of the soul. Basically, when you see something without your eyes, hear something without using your ears, and you say something without using your voice or your mouth. Have you heard this?
Never.
Paul.
I mean, 80% of communication is nonverbal. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's body
You,
language.
you haven't seen the KRS-One thing?
I don't like Harris one. Yeah, his nose is too big. Got a big nose. Can't listen to nobody with a huge nose like that.
Stop. You're tripping, bro.
He's got those cocaine noculars. But go
You
ahead.
gotta you
Go ahead.
gotta stop. You
It's
gotta
just hard
stop.
to listen to him, because I just get fixated on his nose. I'm just like, dude, that's a
All
big.
right. All right. So I'll just throw one or two things at you.
Okay,
Number one is it's I ran into Mickey. We start having this conversation. He sends me this video, but the video basically talks about what it's talking about is talking about tapping into your soul. Like, what is your soul? So seeing things without your eyes, hearing things without your ears, speaking without your voice. What is that? That's your soul, right? So then I was basically kind of throwing back at him things in the Bible and how they explain things in the Bible. So when you talk about, say, Moses is communicating with God, how do you think Moses communicates with God? Do you think Moses is like speaking out loud to God?
uh, so I that there's two answers I could give you, I guess, because one, I guess you have to believe that God is in the sky. If
Right.
if, if you believe God is in the sky, that's cool. Um, but I'm a person who believes God is with inside of you. That's
Right.
what I believe. So,
Well,
but
you're right. And I think you're right in both of those areas.
right, like I just don't believe. God is in the sky. So, but like
Okay,
I think God was. So if I go with how I believe, then it would, from the outside looking in, it probably looked like Moses was talking to himself versus talking
you
up.
would right, right. So this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going with it. So they talk about the soul. This starts with the KRS-One thing. Speaking without your mouth, hearing without your ears, seeing without your eyes, kind of thing. And then in the Bible, it describes Moses talking to God, but we are basically antennas. We are emitting energy. Okay. So more than likely, we did not talk out loud to God. God spoke to us. So that's they start talking about the third eye and things like that. So God speaks directly to your soul, not to you as a person, the flesh, the physical. So that's a lot of the KRS-One stuff. But then it also dials back into the Bible where the Bible teaches us how to eat. I think the Quran dips into this too, but I know there's similar stories in the Bible and the Quran, but I just have to admit, I've never read the Quran. I don't know anything about being a Muslim. I don't know their practices, anything like that. But I am a Christian, so I know a little bit about that. But in the Bible, it describes what to eat, how to eat, and how that system works, how we bring in water, how we bring in food, how food is replanted, how food is grown, and the cycle starts over. Everything that comes from the earth goes back to the earth, right? Including us, because we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a very interesting conversation that Mickey kicked off. So, uh,
I mean, so I'm the type of person that believes, that we're not we're spirits having a human experience. We're not
yeah,
we're not humans having a spiritual experience,
like driving a
right?
car.
Right. We're spirits having a human experience.
Right,
Um, you know, without our spirit or our soul, I mean, we're just a piece of meat,
right.
essentially, right?
So
So,
let me ask you this then. Do you know anything about genetic memory, DNA memory?
um, I mean, I'm not a fucking scientist, but I get the concept.
Okay, so when you talk about being a soul or a spirit, and we talk about basically a soul or spirit driving the car kind of thing, um, this is what is the next step. So the next step is if we are a soul or a spirit, we should be able to jump in and out of a car, to another truck, to another dump truck, or whatever we jump into, right?
Well, I agree because so like let's take Jesus for instance, right? There's some people out there that believe that what Jesus did, what he had was telekinesis, he had telepathy, and he could teleport, right? That's what they believe. So like they don't necessarily believe he was actually killed on the cross, but he did put himself in such a deep meditative sleep that he had no pulse, and that when they put him in the tomb, all he did was just wake up from that deep meditative sleep. Now,
Hmm.
this is what we know for a fact. This is what we know for a fact. We know that in 2025, there are people who have telekinesis that um, move things without touching them. We know this. It's scientifically proven. We know that there's people that have telepathy that could read your mind. That's scientifically proven. We know this. What we haven't been able to prove is teleportation, right? But if there was a
When
man
you
that
say
walked the earth,
teleport, you mean the spirit from one place to another.
correct,
Okay.
correct. You because like we're six protons, six neutrons, and six electrons. That's what makes up an atom. That's what we are. We have six protons, six electrons, and six neutrons in our body. We only tapped into, man, a very small percentage of our DNA, right? We're only tapped into it. I believe that um the the stuff that we have surrounding us today blocks us from being able to use a wholeheartedly what we're really capable
Right,
of doing. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
So this is where I was going with it. So where I started with the KRS-One thing, seeing without your eyes, speaking without your mouth, kind of using your voice without using your mouth, kind of thing. Tapping into what the soul is and what the Bible, when you read the Bible, and how Moses talks to God and things like that, and um, also how to eat, how we, what our bodies are meant to do. Basically, our bodies are emitting pulses. We are emitting energy all the time, but we need water, we need food, we need all sorts of things to make those uh, to make that energy happen. Right, like we are refueling our battery all the time and then bringing those things into our body. That's what allows us to keep emitting this energy. Then when we die, we go back to the earth. Then guess what? We grow up through the trees. We are eaten by other things. We are consumed by other things. The bugs eat us, the animals eat us, whatever. And we are this cycle is constantly going, right? So what you just said about like DNA, and we have all these things around us that stop us from being able to use these I should say skills, but it's not really a skill. It's what's been God given to us. Like,
Yeah.
um, it's become an anti-human thing. That's where we have seeds that can't be reused. Like, there's foods that are growing that don't give off seed. That's anti-human. Or our waters are tainted with chemicals. Or we drink more coffee, sodas, juices. Even our juice isn't juice, right? Like, what do you?
Yeah. So it all boils down to money. That's it. You know,
Yeah, but
if
this
they
is
can
where I'm
find a way to manufacture something, you know, they're going to do it.
right.
If
But this is
they're
where
going to do
I'm going with the subject. It's an anti-human movement because it disconnects us from God. All these man-made products, it disconnects us from God. When you want to laser print a steak, that's going to be like the final cut, because then this also leads us to
no
the
no pun intended. The final cut, like they
it's
what
the
kind of cut?
it's the final cut when we start producing our own meats and we start producing our own foods that are not of the earth. That what's happening is our cycle is breaking down. It's over time, it's just slowly but surely breaking down to the point
So
where
you say it's anti-human. I would go with it's more like population control. That's
it's
what I would put.
population control. But what I'm saying is it disconnects us from our spirituality from God. We are, if you read the Bible, we are meant to consume of the earth. We are meant to
Well,
take in
so
things of the earth. We're meant to go back to the earth.
so one of my homeboys right now is in Brazil, and he'll FaceTime me from time to time, and
Yeah, this is what we're talking about.
I hate to use this term, Native Americans that were here, right?
Yeah,
How they knew they were so connected to the earth,
they had it
they
figured
could
out.
they had it figured out.
Yeah,
They were connected to the earth. They just I think it disconnects us from the earth, but not necessarily God per se. So that's just my opinion. So like the further the United States, now I say the United States, and maybe countries like that operate like the United States that operate in like a democratic fashion. I think the further they can get you away from the earth and living off the land, the more they can control you. Because
there
now
you go.
you have to live off their system.
Right. This is another movement for humans to try to take over. So it's like Babylon. It's like
Yeah,
us.
but you're also right too though, because it does disconnect you from God because then you start to think that they're God because they tell you when to eat,
This is
they
what I'm
tell you when
saying.
to sleep.
This is
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. This is humans trying to take over God's position, like try to
that
control
that's
everything.
that's that's why I like that movie with Denzel Washington, The Book of Eli.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this. I love dystopian movies anyway, but that's one of my favorite dystopian movies, um, because that guy was right. He was, trying to get that Bible. He was absolutely right because that thing could control people. So they had nothing to believe in. And
Right.
I think you're right. The more manufactured shit is, the more they're trying. It is anti-human. I do have to agree with that. I have to agree with that. It's anti-earth. It's anti-God. It's anti-human. Yeah.
So this is what's interesting is I just happened to bump into Mickey at the store, and that kind of kicked off my whole day as far as the way I was thinking all day. And um, yeah, I think the Book of Eli, that's a pretty interesting movie as well. And you notice that movie, he has the last Bible on earth that is known, right?
Right.
But it's in Braille.
It's in Braille. Right.
Oh my god! And so
It's in
when
Braille.
the guy he finally gets it, he opens it up and then he closes it. He's like,
And
because
it's and it's crazy because if he wasn't thirsting for that book so much and being such a jerk to that blind lady, if he wasn't being such a jerk to that
I
blind
know
lady
he
and her
had the girl,
daughter,
she could have read it for him.
she could have read it for him. Could have read it for him.
That's what. Hey, this is why I've been kind of getting into old sayings lately, and the one I like the most is you never know where your last drink of water might come from.
Right. Right.
You never know. You never
Treat the
know.
treat the CEO and the janitor the same.
Exactly.
Literally.
You don't know where the
You
last drink
know.
of water might come from.
Me and one of my other homeboys, we've been tripping off. We've been tripping off this movie that just came out by Ryan Coogler called Sinners, and it plays into what we're talking about because a lot of people are like, saying it's one of the best movies this year, da 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 da, and me and my homeboy, the point we see in the movie is that you know, be careful of. I don't want to spoil the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but like, you really got to be careful of what you invite in ecosystem into your own ecosystem because it's really soul snatching what you
Yeah,
invite. So what you consume,
but
right?
this is also written in the Bible. I mean, I just know some of this stuff because I read the Bible. But it talks about be careful how you entertain strangers.
Correct.
So that taps right into it. Be careful how you entertain
Yep.
strangers. You want to be very careful about what you bring into your energy, into your circle. Uh,
Correct.
what you have really close to you and what you keep at arm's length.
The food that we eat, the content that we consume from TV or from the internet, the music we listen to, all of that shit is to me underlying psychological programming, and it's meant to bring down your natural receptors, your natural
Oh man, you.
gut instincts.
I
It's
mean,
meant to. This is why people are so easily fooled by shit and will
and
sign their name on a dotted line for anything.
again, and this is why I can revert to the Bible. Okay, in the Bible, it talks a lot about manifesting, right? He-
Yeah,
what you say is, I mean, what you speak, it will come true, right?
the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Okay, there you go. So, what are we over here rapping about all the time, saying over and over and over? What do
Man,
people? You think of your most popular hip hop songs, and what do they say over and over and over? Uh,
killing.
what's that?
I said pussy, money, killing.
I mean, yeah. So,
Yeah,
what do you think our culture is becoming? It's becoming true because these people, to a beat, to a rhyme, to a whatever, are over and over and over saying all these negative things about their own culture. It's terrible. There you go. Yeah.
we live in an age. So we when we grew up, you know, some of the stories, and still to this day, some of the stories that we grew up to were, castles, princesses, um, evil stepmothers, um, you know, trolls, witches, warlocks, right?
Hmm.
All of that shit exists right now, literally. Like we call them trolls, people on the internet trolling, right? We call them trolls. Um, have you heard of the term skyring?
What is it?
Skyring.
Mm-mm.
Okay, remember Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all,
Yeah.
right? And then we do that every day with our iPhones and our Android phones. We're skyring. We're mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. We're taking selfies, right? That mirror, that mirror on the wall, and that old children's story. I can't remember, was that Snow White or whatever it was. That lady could see everything in that mirror, right? Same
Mhm.
with our phones. Our phones are black when they're off, and we see a reflection of us. We turn them on, we're skyring, and then we could see anything in the world with this phone,
Right.
right? So we're living in a world of wizardry, witches,
That's
wizards,
interesting. I haven't heard that one before. That's interesting.
trolls,
Yeah, you're right.
castles. The homes are getting bigger. They're castles at this point, right? The witches. What are the witches? It's all these women on Facebook, um, with war paint on, right? They got what y'all call it makeup. I call it war paint, right? Some, they, like, have you ever seen these tutorials where these women look totally different without the makeup on? They got no teeth, and then they put the makeup on and all of that. Like, nigga, that's a witch.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
witch.
Hey, did you see a video where the lady was like, the video starts out and she's like, she looks old. She's an older lady, but she's like, no one's ever seen me like this. And she's like, I've been using this cream for however many years. No one's ever seen me like this. Watch how this works. And she rubs the cream on her face and it like tightens up her skin. Have you seen that one?
I ain't, I ain't seen that. No,
Dude, it was like a trip because like when she starts out, you can tell like she looks her age, but she has this cream that she's been ordering from overseas for I don't know however long. And she starts to rub it on her face, and her skin like literally lifts and tightens up. You can't even tell, like it's insane.
that's right. I ain't seen that.
And she's
I ain't,
like, she says, not even my husband has ever seen me like this, like without the cream on my face.
she's a
How,
witch.
yeah,
She's like
that's
wizard. Like, what's a wizard? I could say a wizard. We got all these fake non-influence, social influence, media influencers, fake non, like those are all wizards. They putting spells on people to have them spend money, and they don't have a great product. I mean, we live in that time right now. That's what I truly believe that. We got peasants. Like, the homeless rate is through the roof right now, right? We live in a crazy time, bro. They bought back the firing squad.
hey, we might need that though. We might need the
No, we
firing squad.
absolutely do need that.
We
they,
might,
but they should let citizens take the shot. Like, they should let some of the citizens take the shot. But no, like, we live in an interesting time, bro, where, like, because right now you got to think only about 20 only about 23% of the shit that it's only about 23% of things that are out here that you can see, touch, smell, and hear. 77% of the shit that exists in this world, you can't smell it, see it, touch it, hear it, feel it. Case in point, air. Case in point, oxygen. You know it exists, but you can't see it, you can't smell it.
hey, you know what else is interesting too, and this is kind of refers to how old we are and whatever else. Did we ever have bottled water when we were growing up?
No,
When
no.
did bottled water start to happen?
I want to say around the 90s.
Gosh, I would say 90 something.
Yeah, it was in
I
the
don't remember
90s.
having bottled water like thinking, man, I need to go to the store and get a pack of bottled water. You know what I mean? Or
No,
something.
no, it was no such thing. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing.
Well, I think you're right about all this wizardry type stuff
Bro,
going on.
I'm serious. Like
Hey,
you know we have wizards when like some of these tech guys, those motherfuckers are wizards.
yeah.
You know, um, a kid hacks into a bank and steals $180 billion worth of Bitcoin. All he did was get online and create a spell of ones and zeros, and
Hmm.
he was able to get in a secure place and get the fuck out and transfer some money. That's wizardry at its finest.
And that's why I'm not a fan of the digital currency. Everything I've ever heard about digital currency, especially with the onset of AI and all this stuff, it's like, and were you around when this happened a couple years ago? Did you remember when the EBT cards quit working?
I no, I don't. I've been no, I didn't know that. I never. Nobody said that. You
This
sure
is
this?
a while back. It happened in Iowa. So for anybody who's listening, we're in Iowa. But I was at the grocery store when this happened. It was like noon. I was getting lunch, whatever. I hear this guy really getting loud. He's getting upset. He's getting loud. And he's like, "Oh, this is the second day. This is the second day. My card's always loaded on this day and this day." It was like first and 15th, you know what I mean? And it was like the 17th or the 18th or something. He's like, "I always got money on the card. There's no reason is the money shouldn't be there. Blah blah blah." And then when he started really getting loud and kind of barking a little bit, this other lady walks over. She starts yelling at the manager too. This to me was like proof that we don't need to live with this digital currency and whatever's going on with the welfare system, whatever. Like when those cards turn off, it's going to be battle royale. When those
Yeah.
credit cards
Uh,
quit working, when them debit cards quit working, it's going to be battle royale. People are going to kill each other.
I mean, shit. They don't even. If China or Russia hits our grid, our financial grid, yeah, that's enough to send us back to 1980. Absolutely. Um,
1980.
we'll be
It's
back
going
there
to be
with
before that. It's gonna
Michael.
be
No, because you got to think 1980, man. We ain't, we still was outside. It,
1980 isn't that far back, bro.
bro, that listen, these kids would kill themselves if they lived in 1980.
Hey,
Drew,
hey,
check it
they
out.
really would. They really
Check
would.
it out. Check it out. Let me mind freak you real quick. Let me mind freak you real quick. There's a whole there's a whole generation. There's a whole generation out here right now that's talking, speaking, that has never ever lived without the internet.
Yeah, you're
There's
right.
a there's a whole generation that's never lived without social media. See, people call it the internet, but that's wrong to say. Social media is on the internet.
Yeah.
The internet is not social media. There's a whole generation that has never lived without social media. There's
Yeah.
also a whole generation that's never lived without the internet. We're the last generation that lived pre-internet.
Yeah. I
Generation
mean,
X.
I remember the hottest thing for me was those first remember the green screen one. It was like a one piece computer and it was a green screen. That's when Apple first dropped like the first computers. It came with a floppy disk.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just gonna say this name.
But
You're
we
gonna know this.
still we still didn't have the internet then.
No, we didn't. We didn't. But this is what I was
We
gonna say.
just had computers. And
Right. But this
what were they good for?
right, exactly. What were they good for?
Yeah.
Nothing. But this
It's
is what
just
I was
like
gonna.
this. It's like when you think about it, like these kids will never understand this, but like when you think about it, have you ever seen a microwave commercial?
I guess when I was a kid.
I can't even remember a microwave commercial. Like they don't even advertise microwaves, right?
Yeah, but back in the day I think when we were kids they did.
I can't remember, but Remember, they used to advertise the internet. They don't need to. They know you
Oh,
can't live without it.
I think they used to advertise. Remember AOL? That was
They
like the
used they used to advertise the internet.
yeah, but AOL was like what we would call Facebook today before we had
Well,
Facebook.
no, AOL was a way for you to access the internet
Yeah, remember
through
the dial-up?
dial up. Like they would send those little discs in the mail, like, "Hey, get so much free time," and those discs would just pile up at your front door. But
They would.
they don't advertise the internet. You'll never see
Right.
a commercial that says they what MediaCom or what MetroNet does is like, "Hey, get service through us," but they don't have to sell you on the internet. Like they don't have
No,
to sell you on a microwave, right? They don't have like it. The there's a generation out there that if you turn the switch off of social media, they would probably jump off a building. There's also a generation if you turn the switch off of the internet, they wouldn't know how to function.
no, they wouldn't. And this guy,
That's why I
he's
say
one.
that's why I say 1980. Like they could take us back to 1980 and it's gonna freak people out.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's tapping in on one of the comments. He says, basically like these are household items that we all need anyway. So people just they don't have to advertise it because it's automatic.
So
But
did you hear what he just did? He what did he say? These are household items that we need anyway.
yeah, like that's
No, no,
today.
but you got to think we grew up without them. You don't
Yeah,
need them.
what I'm saying is that's today, where we didn't have that type of stuff back in the day. I mean, we didn't have cordless phones, bro.
No, correct,
We had a 20-foot long cord that you had to go in the room and
right,
shut the door.
right. So, but do we technically can we live without the internet? Yeah,
I
we
don't
could.
know.
Our generation,
I think I could, yeah. I'll
yeah.
tell you, I'll tell you what the best thing that ever happened, one of the best things that ever happened to me. When COVID hit, bro, I was watching beta males drop like flies. Like, dude, it was one of the best experiences ever because all for the first time in a long, long time, people were talking about we need a person who can hunt, fish, build something. We
Yeah,
need a strong man over here to do this or that. I think COVID really opened my eyes to modern day living, like what
yeah.
you know how soft everybody has gotten, how reliant on the system a lot of people have gotten. Where me personally, I already had it in my head like if this goes all the way south, I already have a spot. I know where I'm going. I'm gonna take my boat there. I can hunt,
This is
fish.
this is why I keep a couple white buddies around because they go fishing, they go hunting. Couple of my white buddies because they're survivalists. This is why I keep a couple of them around because I'm one of them type of motherfuckers that I don't do none of that shit. You put me in the woods, yeah, I'm gonna come out with a bear coat because I'm gonna figure it out. But hey,
you'll
I don't know
you'll
what the
be
fuck
sup-
I'm doing.
you'll be surprised. It's not as easy as you think. But have
Listen,
you
I'm gonna
ever?
figure this
Hey,
shit
let me
out.
ask you a question. Hey, first off, in the comments, he's saying paper money will probably be gone soon. I'm not. I want to stay away from digital. I'm trying to stay away from digital all I can. But have you? Let me ask you this question. Have you ever peeled the skin off of a deer? You ever skinned a deer?
No, no, I haven't even ever killed an animal before, ever.
It's. I'll tell you what. When you skin an animal, it's a different experience, especially if they're like if you killed them like yesterday and they're cold, or if you killed them yesterday and they're warm, or if you just killed it. Obviously, everything's best fresh, but what I'm saying is, one of the best things that ever happened, I think, is when COVID hit. I think it reminded everybody that in a moment, life as we know it can just cease to exist. I mean, we are so reliant on the grocery store. We're so reliant on the mall or these supermarkets. And when that stuff's gone, I'm telling you, it'll take 2 days. It'll take 2 days before people are killing each other.
One thing that I liked, um, one thing that I don't say I like. One thing that entertains me is how simple minded majority of us are. So I think this was during COVID when everybody was going crazy because there was no toilet paper around. When it was
Can
the funny. Listen,
you?
I remember I went to Target, way over to Target in East Moline, in Moline, and going to look for some toilet paper, and all that was left was Kleenex. It was so hilarious to me. I'm like, I'm like, the government and the media can tell you people anything.
Right.
I,
And
I,
and
I, I can guarantee you, nobody remembers why we had a toilet paper shortage.
because everybody got scared. They
Of,
got
of
just people started buying it up because they were scared.
what was toilet paper going to do?
Not nothing. Everybody was just scared. So there was one product they could buy and like, oh, we
But
need to stock up on
why
we need to
toilet
stock up.
paper?
I don't know specifically if you
Neither,
know.
neither do I. I don't think
No,
anybody does. That's my point.
no, yeah, you're right about that. I think you're definitely right about that. I think that people, for whatever reason, they looked at that one product and said, "Man, we better get this now because it's affordable or whatever." And I think it's a product that a little bit of everybody could afford and was like, "Hey, let's get this now because we're going to need it later."
There wasn't that many asses in the world for that much toilet paper.
But you know
I
what?
don't
Hey,
get it.
this guy, he's chiming in again on the comments, and he's talking about, he grew up on a dairy farm, which is awesome. But he says he drank unpasteurized milk for a long time, and that, unpasteurized milk, it's like pink. You know that, right?
I didn't
It's
know
not.
that.
white. Do you know why it's pink?
It doesn't have any chemicals in it. I'm assuming it's not.
It's got blood in
That's very fucking disgusting, Drew.
it. Well,
So
why
so
do you
that
think it's?
so that strawberry milk, pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you know why they pasteurize it?
To kill off pathogens, I'm assuming.
Pasteurizing it kills any kind of germs that would
Bacteria.
pass.
Yeah.
It'll kill any of the germs that are passed through the blood that is in there. There's blood in the milk.
So, I my ultimate goal, right? And I'm in my 40s, so I don't know how this is gonna happen. It's all up to God at this point. My ultimate goal would be to raise my own animals. My ultimate goal would be to do that because I like, bro. There'd be times where I'd be wanting to eat a motherfucking pork chop. I ain't ate a pork chop nigga in about 40 years. And I'd be wanting to eat a pork chop sandwich. But I'm not trusting that shit from the store, right? I'm not eating no pork from the store. The only way I'll go back to eating pork is if I raise my own pigs, right? Like I'd be wanting to eat that shit. But I
Well,
just
I'll say pork isn't really my thing, but definitely beef and chickens. Chickens are the easiest ones. Have you
they
ever
are
you've never had your own chicken? Like cut the head off and
no.
defeathered it?
I'm Haitian. I should be able to know that, but no, I haven't.
Dude, chickens are like the easiest thing in the world. Not only to raise, they breed fast, they create eggs. You can have fresh eggs in the morning. You can have
I,
meat. You can have chicken meat forever. If you get a
I
big
recently
freezer.
I recently had a fresh egg and didn't know there was a difference between the store egg and a fresh egg. That fresh egg is 30 times better than a store bought egg. I mean, it's fluffier. It's everything's different about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So honestly, homegrown food is the way to go. And again, like where all this started was, we're on a big anti-human movement. All the manufactured foods, all the products that are on our shelves, 98% of the grocery store isn't good for you. Everything's got
No, I need more fiber in my life. And I think, Steve, are you
well,
working on a farm now? Is that what you mean? If
no,
so,
you'll see there's crazy people in the comments. But what he's referring to is, I'm not saying milk comes out pink. I'm saying that there's blood in it. That's what I'm saying.
oh, okay, yeah. He's saying there's blood in it. Yeah, bro. Um,
But that's why they have to pasteurize it.
right. Did did you did your grandparents have a farm or something, or did what? I can't remember. Didn't they?
What's that? What'd you
Your
say?
grandparents you guys, your grandparents didn't have a farm or nothing like that, did they?
No, not particularly.
Okay, okay. I remember being in kindergarten, and my kindergarten teacher, Miss Ellen, I'll never forget her. I'll be looking for that lady for to this day. Um, she would come to my mom constantly, and ask my mom could she adopt me. So my mom was like, "Lady, are you fucking insane? No." So she was like, "Okay, can I take them to my, take them with me on the weekends?" So she would take me on Fridays. My mom wouldn't pick me up. I would just go with Ellen, and we go out to her farm. I still got pictures of me, her on the farm. So we would go out on the farm, but my mom wouldn't let me go alone. She would have to make my sister go with me, right? So, um, I would stay the whole weekend out there on her farm, just with me, Ellen, her parents, and her husband. And I think this was kind of funny about like this is why I like white people. White people are crazy to me. Um, I love them, right? They're interesting. But I think the only reason why this is what I thought. I think the only reason why she wanted to not I said kidnap, she wanted to adopt me was because remember that show that used to come on TV called Webster?
Yeah, yeah,
Webster was popular back then.
right.
And and people used to tell me I looked like Webster. So I think that's why she wanted me, because she wanted a little Webster. I swear to you, bro. I swear. But I'm still, hey, Ellen, if you out there, I'm still looking for you, baby. Probably like 70 years old or some shit, but no, you can't be 70. You gotta be, no, she probably about 70. She probably about 70.
Well, I'm not gonna comment on the complexion of a person's skin, but I will say that it's very interesting the people who adopt things like wolverines and wild bears, and they like to bring in hyenas and things like that, But uh, yeah, we know that some cultures have an adoptive mentality. They like to adopt things
Yeah.
that we probably wouldn't, in our like where we grew up, we're not trying to adopt nothing. We're not trying to bring nothing home. Cause
No,
like
no, no, no. No. If we can't eat it, we can't eat it. We ain't, what the fuck bringing it to the crib for? If we can't eat it.
how would
Like, yeah.
how would
No.
your how would your mom respond if me and you would have brought home some like stray dogs and we're like, hey, we're gonna keep these
Yeah, I would have been sleeping with that stray dog. I would have been a stray at that point. She would have
outside?
made me a stray. Yeah, she would have made me a stray.
You
We
be
ain't bringing
outside.
nothing else. We not bringing nothing home. We gotta feed. We ain't got that much food as it is. Fuck, you
And
bring
you're
no,
right.
hell no. But it, but isn't that crazy though? Like, you know, when you're young, you got to be cognitive of you. Like, okay, so for instance, I was out to eat with one of my young buddies. He's like 23, 24, 23 or 24. We went to Yummy Crab the other day, and he was like, he grew up with nothing. He grew up with nothing, zero. Um, and he was like, he remembers when, and this is like his parents are my age. So he was like, he like, it's sad that when your kids know or a cognitive, they know when a parent don't have it like that,
Right.
right? That's really messed up, bro. And that's kind of, and I felt when he said that, because like there were times where I would see Mike Rizzo or some of the other guys at Garfield, and they had on the Jordans.
I do recall that. And I was never like jealous. It was just
No, I wanted them too, but I had to go XJ 900 or Pro Wing, and that was
saying
embarrassing. That was embarrassing,
that was kind of hard to deal with. It was hard to
bro.
deal.
That was embarrassing.
But you know what I was gonna say was when you talk about, going to a restaurant and stuff like that, I was always the oldest, not only of my sisters and my little brother, but I was the oldest of all my cousins. So if we ever went somewhere, it was kind of up to me. I was always like the brother dad, or like, I'm the oldest kid at the little kid table, right? So I kind of had to organize that for the rest of the kids. So I always understood, don't go over here and try to order the most expensive stuff off the menu. Try to get what's going to take care of you and everybody else so that when you order and everybody else orders, it's not people aren't fighting over food and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because that
Yeah.
will happen. It will happen with a bunch of kids because they get all greedy. But yeah, it was very interesting way to grow up with going to a restaurant and thinking, okay, just whatever you need. Don't get more than what you need, kind of thing.
Having to be conscious of your parents' pockets.
Right, right. Yep. That's
I
very
don't.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't see
What
like my daughter, my kids. They don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like it's get whatever you want. Like it's you know, my daughter want McDonald's. Let's go. When she was growing up as a kid, let's go get it. But there was times where I would wake up thinking about a sausage biscuit with egg and cheese from McDonald's, and knowing she couldn't get it.
you're
No,
right about that.
knowing she
Yeah.
couldn't get it. Literally, bro.
And for me, my experience was there were times that we had it and there was times we didn't, and you just didn't have it.
Yeah.
That's just how that went. You know, uh, and again, where we specifically met and grew up, it's sad to say that I knew kids that were worse off than me. You know,
No,
um,
absolutely.
so there were times where I knew there was nothing in the refrigerator and there was nothing to go inside for. You know,
Listen. I know there was kids at school, bro, that when they went home and open up the refrigerator, it was nothing but an echo in that motherfucker. That's
you're
it.
right about that. Yep,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
that's so serious. Yeah,
Like people were going to school just to eat.
yeah. There's
You
some of
know what I'm
those.
saying? Like it was crazy, bro. It's crazy, but like I just don't think we're not in those. We live in a country now full of excess. Especially
Right. And so that's kind of what brings us full circle. Is a lot of these people they're living a lifestyle that they don't understand that with digital currency, with somebody else in control of your money or somebody else control of your grocery store or somebody else in control of your car, say you with these new electric cars or whatever, you can just get them things turned off.
it is,
Um,
bro.
with other people in control of the things that you need in your life to survive, it's not going to work out. It's
No,
not going to.
you know, I like Bitcoin. Um, I believe in Bitcoin, so I have some Bitcoin. Well, I don't have a full one yet, but I have some money in Bitcoin. Um, but I have some in a hot wallet, and I have some moved offline in a cold wallet. Right. I do believe the reason why I like Bitcoin because it's the only thing to me that hedges against our dollar, which I think is be manipulated, and I think that's Bitcoin.
Okay,
I'm not saying any other cryptocurrency. I'm only specifically talking about Bitcoin.
okay, but this is my point. What happens when the ATM doesn't work? What happens when the phone doesn't work? What happens when none of that electronic devices work at all? Your laptop won't work, your phone won't work, your ATM is turned off.
Well, we'll be if that's the case. I don't know if you're saying won't work for everyone or if won't work for a particular social class, but everything in this country runs online.
Okay, so this is my point. Like
At that point,
there's
nothing won't matter except water and shelter and food.
right.
None of that shit's
So,
gonna matter.
and security, being able to
Yes,
protect yourself, protect your
yeah,
family.
shelter. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might as well be throwing sticks and stones. Uh I guess where I'm going with it is like I think that the way we are living now, it's a big setup. It's a really big setup for if any, and it doesn't even have to be for a long period of time. I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm just talking about what, just for a week. Look, like I said, with these EBT cards, these things they got turned off for like 2 or 3 days. People were ready to go ham. They were ready to literally go crazy over their EBT card not working.
Well,
Um,
yeah, that's fucked up. I I'm the guy that if the world was ending, I'm the guy that was whistling. Like I kind of want to see destruction, to be honest with you. And
hey, I think
people,
I believe in weights and balances. That's what I believe in. Weights and balances.
I think when I get online and I see shit like guy gets killed at Popeyes standing in line for the Popeyes chicken sandwich, and that really like somebody was like, "I'm gonna go get a chicken sandwich today," and that was his last day on earth. Nigga, you
That's
died over
terrible.
a Popeyes chicken sandwich. When I
A
see shit
Louis,
like that,
he died over a Louisiana style chicken sandwich. That's what he died.
a Louisiana style Popeye chicken sandwich that you don't even know if it's real chicken. First of all, brother, it's frozen, not fresh. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, I think when I see shit like that, bro, and hear shit like that, we need a reset.
That's what I'm talking about.
We need a
The
reset because
reset.
at that point, and then when I see shit like man versus food, right, and all these restaurants have these challenges like I'm gonna eat 13 patties in 20 minutes and I get a free shirt. I'm like, we need a reset. Because there's
Yeah.
people out here like literally starving. And then you got this, here yesterday I was watching a clip on Instagram. These guys were, they're foodies or whatever. They paid $150 for a pizza. And the slices are as big as my arm. And it's just like, what a fucking waste, man. We need a reset.
You know what? On that note, one of the more interesting things that I saw was about Thanksgiving and how much food they waste after Thanksgiving, like these super Targets, Walmarts, Costco's, all these places, how bad it is, like how bad the waste is.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I see it at our local Hy-Vees and like our local stores. I see it because if you go in the back doors, like if you come in any kind of like side entrances or back doors, you'll see grocery carts full of food that they're just going to throw away.
It's fucked up.
It's really messed up.
Yeah. It's messed up.
Very unfortunate. Uh, while he's in the comments right now, say what up to Timmy. He's a guy who's actually helped me out with my YouTube page. He's or my YouTube channel. Say what up to Tim. I tried to
What
get
up, Tim?
I tried to get Tim on here because he's got some trading cards he wants to talk about. Like they're my MMA trading cards, but he has some of them.
Oh, interesting.
But he tried to tell me he only does his YouTube channel off his laptop. He doesn't use a cell phone and all this. I don't know what his deal is, but
He says cash is king, but not for long, unfortunately. Um,
basically we're getting wiped out, man. They're gonna as soon as I'm telling you, as soon as they replace this this cash with digital currencies and stuff, it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong.
you know, I, I
I get a battery. I gotta get a battery real quick.
I think it's going to get worse and worse as time goes past. I think, and it should. It should. We're going to come to a time where it's going to be the haves versus the have-nots. We're almost there. Um,
There's
there's
too many people that have not.
correct. The middle class is getting crushed daily, which is it is what it is.
Monstrous. Monstrous.
Yeah, it just is what it is, and I'm here for it. I can't wait.
You know what? When we talk about this like apocalyptic type stuff, um, one thing that really bothers me is that who decided we're going to put these electronic carts in these stores? And
Like parts,
now I understand for people who can't walk or somebody who's hurt or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
the ones you sit down and ride in,
Yeah.
I get in them sometimes.
But do you need it?
Nah.
No,
I just I
no.
just do it.
So we are teaching people who are able-bodied to go ahead and ride this cart.
Yeah.
No, bro.
We're mice.
Like,
They treat
dude,
us like
it's
corporations treat us like mice.
it's terrible, man. Like, and I see these young kids doing it, and I'm like, no, man. Like, that's for people who are disabled or something of that matter.
Well, I mean, disabled people don't want to be treated differently. So, you know,
I'm not saying you got to treat them differently. What I'm saying is, again, to me, this is proof how soft our society is getting. That you have two strong legs and a strong back and two good arms, and you don't want to walk around this store, and you're not thankful for
for
the
those, yeah,
for the
for
abilities that you have.
facts. That's
That,
facts.
and I'm not just saying like I'm not poking at you. What I'm saying is we need to understand that there are certain things that are built into our society for certain reasons. So I get it. If you are disabled, if you do need an electric cart, they should be available for those people. But
What about handicapped parking places? How do you feel like that? I feel like there's too many.
I'm all right with that.
You're all right with that?
You know
It's just,
why? Do you
hey,
know, dude, I park so far away from the store, it's insane. Like
I
I'll
I
walk
know.
half a mile into the store. I don't care.
When I seen you at High V the other day, um, when I was leaving, I seen you was leaving too, and your truck was. I was like, this nigga parked at Taco John. Like, what the fuck is
Right.
he doing?
I always park far away because I don't mind the walking. I got two strong legs, bro. What am I worried
Dude,
about?
I'm trying to get in and out.
I'm trying to get in and out.
I'm trying to get in and out, brother.
Well, I'm glad you don't have a handicap sticker, do you?
No, no, but if I had one, I would use it. Oh, I would use it. And if you notice, you never see handicapped people getting pulled over.
I guess you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've never seen a cop pull over somebody and say, "Can you step out the car, please?" and get them in a
Hey,
wheelchair. So,
well then that just goes to show that a lot of these police they still do have some integrity, don't they?
well, the guy could this handicap with the person with the handicap sticker on his windshield, he could be having a dead body in the trunk, and
Good.
you don't want to pull him over.
Hey,
You know,
but you know what? These police officers, they're so good. They're just good people. They're just good all around people. You know what I mean?
listen, I hated the whole defund the police movement. I hated that shit. I didn't want to hear that shit. Why would I'm not defunding those motherfuckers? You motherfuckers,
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. I'm not going to say I'm all for defunding the police, but I'll say this. I think there is a time where we should be able to make some decisions on our own and we should not be punished for those decisions because
that's not the police. That's the court. That's the judicial system.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about human beings. So if somebody did something to your mother or somebody did something to your sister, we as people or as citizens, we are being held back from natural order. There, I believe in natural order, is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with you. I'm saying that's a judicial thing. Um,
No, not really. What I'm saying is,
you're saying
I
you
bel-
should be punished for you know doing committing an act on someone that committed an act against you.
that's what it says in the Bible.
I mean, and that's all judicial.
No, that's not judicial. That's what it says in the Bible.
No, what I'm saying is because if you do commit that act, your ass is going to jail.
I'm Paul. That's what I'm just trying to explain to you.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is, I don't believe in defunding the police. What I believe is there should be something we can do as citizens, and there should be police or like there should be a system, but let's face the facts. Right now, what's going on with our judicial system is it's a business. It's not really justice.
it's always been a business. I don't think it's ever been justice per se.
Well,
Um,
it's more business now than it's ever been.
I think everything in this country that we live in, it all boils down to money. That's it. Like
There you go. There you
there's
go.
what does Steve, I mean Jeff Bezos, need with $138 billion,
Well, I'll say this first
right?
off.
Like it's all
Okay,
about.
but I'll say this first off. I think he made it. He created it. That's if that's his money, that's his money. He could do with it whatever he wants. I can't really judge a guy who's got 300 billion, 130 billion. If he made that money and it's his money, it's his money.
No,
Um,
I agree with that. What I'm saying is there's nothing that one if you got $1 billion, there's nothing on this earth you can't have. That's what I'm saying.
right. This is the only thing I would do if it was. This is again. These are my opinions. That money he made, or you can call it Elon Musk, you can call it Jeff Bezos, you can say Bill Gates, you can say anything you want. But what I would probably do if I was like a government of any sort, or if I had anything to say about it, I would just say that I would incentivize those people to help the people of their country, the people that are closest to them, the people that help them make that money. Maybe they should somehow help the system that they help them to make that money. Does that make sense?
It does. It's just when you have that type of money, you tend to have a, a lot of influence on how laws and how a country operates.
Okay,
So
that's exactly what I'm saying.
yeah. So like I don't think it's the other way around. I don't think the country tells you what to do. You tell the country what to do when you have that money, that type of money.
I guess I don't know how to. I'm trying to put it to put the right pieces together. When you talk about the country already made that guy the money that he has. So the system that was in place helped him to make that money. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that okay, so I'm fine with that. So what I'm getting at is like maybe whatever it takes, or I don't know how to directly or indirectly put this, but I do know that we have lots of homeless people, right? Well, if that person with the most amount of money helped create jobs for those homeless people, they're going to make more money because those homeless people, once they get some money in their hand, they're just going to buy from so and so anyway.
No, facts, right? So you know what's interesting about homelessness, I would say, is that and I see why you don't have like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos running out trying to solve California's homeless crisis or the West Coast homeless crisis or the East Coast homeless crisis because you'll find that most of those homeless people have mental health issues.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Majority of them have mental health issues. Couple that with you know alcohol or drug abuse. Because truthfully, there is programs in place and there is subsidized housing and things like that for people who just fell on hard times, who have children fell on hard times. But when I was in LA, I had told the Uber driver I was in the car with to take me to Skid Row because I had to see that shit for myself. And Skid Row, have you been to Skid Row before?
A couple different ones. Detroit, LA,
LA Skid Row.
New, New York,
LA,
Florida.
LA Skid Row.
I've seen a lot of them actually.
It's insane. It's insane to believe that those people have mental health issues.
Have you ever been to Seattle, Washington?
No, but if I do, I want to go on Aurora Avenue.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's incredible when you see those people, because what they did was they passed a law where those people can use drugs openly because there's
Damn.
just too many of them. They don't want, because what'll happen is the people will just break the law and they'll get locked up because they want to get locked up.
That
Yeah. So they had to pass a law
that's
where they can just openly use drugs and the needles and all that stuff, the needles, all the stuff on the streets. They had to put um biohazard containers out so people can throw their needles in there. They had to give them fresh needles because they're passing around diseases. They're used needles. They put porta potties out and the people try to live in the porta potties. It's insane, dude.
yeah. Those are mental health issues, bro.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So I mean, yeah, this is it's only going to get worse, like it's supposed to. Like especially if anybody believes in the Bible, it's only
Okay,
going to
but
get.
this is what I'll say. Again, we were kind of talking about super wealthy people, and I know we're kind of jumping through certain topics, but um, I don't believe that just because you have all the money in the world, I don't believe that entitles anybody to have to fix everybody's problems. Um,
No,
what
absolutely
I
not.
what I would do if I had anything to say about it, if my opinion mattered, I would incentivize or encourage those people that do have those abilities to help the people who want to be helped or help the system that helped create that money. So if you have so many consumers, you could say give back to those consumers. Or you could say if there's a certain area that a lot of your money comes from, like say you sell you sell more using like the PPE thing, like the protective equipment, like say you sell more goggles in this area or that area. Maybe you discount those products or maybe you offer jobs that promote that product, right? Like an outside salesman, you hire an outside salesman that sells through your company. You know what I mean? It's creating jobs. It's just going to bring you more money anyway. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
So what I'm saying is I think that if I had anything to say about it, I would probably try to incentivize people who have that kind of money, incentivize them to help the system that made them that money that they have.
Interesting. Yeah, I just for me, it's like, when is it ever enough? I just don't think it is. For anyone.
What do you mean, money?
For anything. I just think in the United, because I can't speak on any other country, but in the United States, I just think we have this cultural mentality that it's never enough. From poor people to ultra wealthy people, and everybody in between. We just have a over excess, it's never enough type of attitude.
Yeah, I kind of had this conversation too. This brings us back all the way around full circle where I started. Well, kind of talking about men and women. And we're talking about women who pursue men that are so called high value, right? A lot of high value men will not value a woman because they're a high value man, correct?
Um, let me see where you're going with this. Unpack it for me.
Well, in most relationships, I perceive the best relationships happen when a man and a woman meet on an equal plane, no matter what that plane is. But the lower, the better, because they have much deeper roots. They'll stick together because they have deeper roots. So when you're a man, especially if you're a man who meets a woman at a low level and you guys get together, you're more likely to survive because you grew together. Does that make sense?
Um, the concept does, yeah.
Okay.
I I guess my take on it is
Yeah, I mean, wherever, whatever the top is.
Nowadays you have women who want to be men, and I'm not talking about like trans. I'm just talking about feminine women who want to take on a man's role. And I
Be the
think
boss. They want to be
be
the
the boss,
boss.
like in a like you could be the boss out there, but inside here, I think when a person gets with someone, I think it should be. I think love should be in the backseat, like because when you put love in the front seat, it too many emotions are involved
Okay, so let me ask you this
and
question then.
making bad decisions.
Okay, that's fine. Let me ask you this question. Your mom and dad have a lot of money, and you're the prince. You're the man, right?
Okay.
Well, guess what? You got to marry the princess from over across the way,
Yep. To keep that bloodline
right?
rich. Yeah.
So her mom and dad, they got money. Your mom and dad got money. You're the prince. She's the princess. You guys got to get married so that you can bring the union together, right? So you guys
Yep.
can all join together.
Yep.
First time you ever see her, all you get to see is this.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. You get
Yep.
married. That veil gets lifted.
Okay.
And she looks like the donkey straight from hell.
You can't fuck her face.
So what are you gonna do?
You can't fuck her face anyway.
She she looks horrible. This woman looks horrible.
What's the
But
body look?
you're already married. So you're telling me, hold on. You're telling me that you're okay with that marriage just because it's for money.
Correct. Because like we married for a reason. That don't mean so that like we'll learn to love each other down the line. That can be learned. But I'm still gonna be fucking. I'm the prince. I can get any pussy I want.
No, no, you're misunderstanding the union. The union is this is your woman. You're committed to
That's
her.
fine.
You gotta have children with her. You're committed to her.
That's cool. But I'm the prince. I can have all the pussy in the fucking.
No, no, you can't.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cannot. That
Yes, I
breaks
can.
that breaks the union, bro.
No,
That
we did. No, it doesn't. That once, like, because if you're using like real terms like that, like prince, princess, that princess is
oh,
mine now.
you know
Can't go no.
what? This is where I'm gonna twist you right here because this is where you're going wrong. You don't understand. You're the prince. If you mess around with the wrong woman and you have a child with another woman, your child from the wrong woman may be entitled to everything that your mom and dad have.
I don't. What law is? What country is this? What law is this?
You don't understand. This is what you never heard about, like the stuff that happened in England. It's coming to me. I want to say Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, but that's wrong. Jack the Ripper. You don't know about this Jack the Ripper story?
Yeah, yeah. And
That
what
that's
happened?
that's that's why all these women were getting killed because the prince was going around messing around with these girls he shouldn't have been messing with, and they didn't know who was who, and they didn't want to have an heir to the throne that was the wrong woman. She would have been inherited in, or that child would have been inheritance to the throne because he's the prince.
So
You
so
can't
check.
you can't just go around messing with anybody, dude. You're the prince.
No, I can't because as long as me and my wife have babies, yeah,
No, that's not how it works.
that's how it's gonna work in my kingdom. In my fucking kingdom, that's how it's gonna work. What the fuck you
I
talking
think
about?
I think you got this inheritance thing all mixed up, son.
Nah,
You
nah.
might.
Ain't I'm not listen, none of my kids with my donkey faced wife is losing their birthright from one of they outside source,
Hey,
you
and
know,
these kids, and I'm
that-
telling you right now, I know this right now. I know this about you right now. First off, If this kid came out and I'm like, that's not his kid, I'm like, this kid cannot see very well. There, there would be no genetic test needed. I would know all your traits. I'd be like, that's his child for sure.
So back then they didn't have blood tests.
I know, but we would. I'm just telling you,
They ain't
it'd be
had
a
no blood
problem.
tests back then.
It'd be a real problem. It'd be a real problem right now.
Well, we'll solve it. There's nothing. Bring back Jack. Bring back the Ripper.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I think that there is room for. I don't know, man. I've just never been a money person, but um, and don't get me wrong, that's come back to kick me a few times. But um, I gotta say, the arranged marriage or marrying for money, I think there's something to it. But I mean, there has to be some sort of connection between those people. It's just if your roots aren't deep, it's the tree's liable to die. It's just gonna die.
I just think you have to be on the same
It's
like
dude.
that person has to be thinking the same thing. Like they have to be game for it. Cause
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
so
the,
if I marry like let's say me and my wife got a divorce and I get married again, the person I you know get married again to, we can't it can't just be for love. I don't that's going to cause too many emotions and because if it's just for love, then you're not going to care if I worked at McDonald's or no. I need you to care.
okay, but hold
Need
on.
you to care.
Not no, hold on, because now you're kind of moving the goalposts. I think the scenario that you've given is we're talking about real money. We're talking about
Let's bring it down to a more practical, like our more practical, like in real time. Like I got married to my wife because I loved her. I got married for love. In hindsight, I sometimes think like that might not have been the best idea to marry for love. That's and time again I see that it's like damn. But when you actually get married for a real reason other than love, I think it could last longer. That's just my opinion. I think it could last longer
and
because
maybe you're just and I'm just gonna throw my piece in on it. That it sounds to me there's a little bias there because you're speaking from your one experience. You know what I mean?
I mean, but when I look back at it though, like I said, you know, this is not something I just thought about recently. Like that's why I brought up first. I'm like, the whole marriage for love concept is only like 100-year-old concept. You got to think.
Okay, okay, but hear me out on
So
this.
and let me say this. I'll tell you this because prior to them having laws about you know
Divorce.
no sex with certain ages, you
Oh, okay.
you would have a 25-year-old dude, you would have a 13, 14-year-old girl getting married off to a 25-year-old dude. You mean to tell me she knew and this is why some people's grandparents are grandpa is 80, grandma is 70
I mean,
because
I kind of get that, but that's again, you're talking about 1800s, early.
I mean, no, I'm talking about shit 1910, 1930,
Yeah,
1940.
but there's still some hurdles to get over. You're talking about there's cultural differences. When I talk about culture, I mean like racial differences. There's where you're from. I mean, you could be under when you're talking about 1900s, dude. There's so many different cultural. China would be way different than America. America would be way different than Europe. Europe would be way different from India. You know what I mean? Africa would be way different from Russia or something. You know what I mean? Like there would be
I'm,
some
so
massive cultural differences.
I was born in, so me and you were born in the late 70s, right?
Yeah.
40 years prior to that, there was no such thing as you couldn't marry a 13, 14-year-old.
Okay.
That shit was common.
Okay. So being specific to America.
Correct. So what I'm saying is like that whole marriage for love shit is barely 100-year-old institution.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this: when you start talking about
So
the
let me say this: that whole love shit, that shit is another way to suck out money from. It's all based on money. Like breakfast is based on money. Breakfast. That's a whole new. That's a
I
bacon.
gotta again, I'm gonna say
Breakfast.
this.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's bullshit. That's
I'm gonna
bullshit.
I'm gonna say this. I think that some of your some of your opinions here are a little biased. They're a little biased.
They're not
For
based on me, brother.
I'm
To me,
saying I'm saying
to me,
some. I'm saying
to
some
me,
of your
love is a money grab. It's a money grab. Like diamonds are a girl's best friend. Huh?
okay, but I don't know how to put it. Okay, I get like the idea of Valentine's Day or something like that. Um, I think that there are definitely things that objects, right, that suggest there's objects that suggest that you love somebody. If you get this person this, then this is how much you love them, right? Is that what you're saying? I don't totally believe that. I agree with some of the things you're saying though. I
This
understand where you're coming from.
this is why I say that. I okay. We love our parents, right? Our parents love us, right? There's not anything of monetary or physical value that can tell me anything different than that.
Okay, so I believe you because that's why I brought up Valentine's Day or what you said, diamonds are a girl's best friend. I get that part. What I'm saying is this whole conversation, there should be some level of attractiveness. There should be some level of get along, agreement. I'm talking about relationships. You're like you're moving the goalposts, is what you're doing.
That I got more in common with than my I got in common with my wife.
Okay, and I understand that. What I'm saying is
So should I love them?
all of these things are common traits of a good relationship. It doesn't matter if that relationship is a business relationship. You don't have to love your business. You don't have to love your secretary. I'm saying that they're good habits and good things to have in your relationship.
I mean, I go off of think. Okay, so like honesty, trust, like those are good things to have in a relationship.
Okay,
You
and
know,
then and here's another thing though. That's the same. I'm saying the same thing. But what I'm saying is you don't buy your mom a diamond ring because you love her.
what I'm saying is your mom knows you love her without you having to buy a diamond ring.
I'm saying the same thing you're saying.
You know, like so
That's
to
what I'm
me,
saying.
I'm
So you
standing on it. Like I
okay,
truly
so
believe.
so let me ask you this. Do you get along with your mother because you love her? Yes. Do you want to get along with her because you love her? Yes. These are good things to have in your relationship. It's not the fact that it's a physical matter, but yes, with your wife, it will be a physical matter. There's some things that connect and some things that don't. What I'm saying is there's some of this you're kind of moving the goalpost when I say when I say okay with your wife specifically, yes, these are good habits to have. You want to be able to get along, especially if there's money involved. A lot of people know this now because of divorce. These men are getting divorced and these women They're getting the full boat ride. You know what I mean?
Because you know why? Because they married for fucking love.
Who did?
This,
Which part? Which part?
this 50% of marriages end in divorce. 50% of divorces, 25% is either infidelity or finance.
Okay, so this is what I'm telling you. I think that there's a lot of variations that create a great relationship. So if you get along, you have a good relationship, you have a good physical relationship. There's a lot of this stuff that doesn't need to happen. It,
I mean, in a perfect world, Drew, you would be right. But like I would say,
I'm gonna lay it again. I'm gonna say this again. I think that some of your opinions are a little biased. I think that you're correct in your way of thinking from your perspective. I'm just saying overall, I'm not gonna get with anybody just for money. It's not ever gonna happen.
and me personally, I'll agree with you on that because it's what I'm saying is I'm not going to get with somebody because of love. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not gonna get with somebody just for money.
Yeah, neither am I.
Okay. Well, then what are you saying?
But I'm not
You
going to get
just
with somebody.
this whole argument was you saying, "Oh, money is the only thing that matters." I'm
No, no,
gonna
no, 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 no.
I'm gonna go mess with this donkey faced girl so I can get their land and their castles and
Yes,
whatever else.
yes. So like,
You're contradicting yourself.
no, because like money. When you say money, so okay, you're grouping money into land and power and status, right? Like not me. So to me, when you say money, I'm talking about actual physical cash, right? Okay, this girl over there, she work at John Deere. She make 100 grand a year. I'm gonna go get with her. Nah, it don't work like that. That don't move me.
Okay,
Like
so who are you gonna marry that you just get a stack of cash?
so, okay, let me put it like this. One of
Please
my
put it so I understand that you're gonna marry somebody
check
and
it
you're
out.
gonna get a stack of cash next to the person you marry.
This is exactly what I'm saying. I am not going to marry just because we fell in love. That's not happening. There's got to be a bigger reason than
You're
that.
contradicting yourself. What is the bigger reason, Paul?
What do you mean? I mean, it's got to be a bigger benefit than that. I can't take love to a bank. I can't take love and give it. Hey, here go. Here, you're my child. We had a child
Okay, I'm gonna
together.
ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this one more time. Who are you who are you gonna marry? And once you marry that person, you get a stack of cash that you can take to the bank.
Shit, I could think of a few motherfucking people.
Who? Tell me
I,
how that works.
I mean, let me go to the pony. Walk in there. Watch it. Bitch, she got a stack of cash. We get married. Bitch, we taking that money to the bank.
You are not, you are talking crazy, dude. You have no idea
I'm
what
serious.
you are just talking crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not marrying for love. That's all I'm saying. That shit ain't happening. That shit is
Well,
played
I'm
out.
going to tell you this right now because this you got to understand this is 100% live. You are going to chew on the soles of your shoes on this one for sure.
Marrying for love
I'm
is
just saying, Paul, this is what I'm saying. Listen, I'm saying that when it comes to a union, it's two people getting together because they meet on equal planes. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
well.
The psychology of it is crazy because a lot of men, as soon as they get off that plane, they get a little bit more, they think they can do better. Or what for a man, and I can speak for this all day. When that man he quits making that money and he falls a little bit, she starts thinking she could have done better. You know, so I think there's a lot of psychology that goes into that.
Yeah, I think a lot of men are suckers. So I think we got to get back to manning. I think all this, got to get in touch with my feminine side shit. That shit's played out. Like you said earlier, you know, COVID happened, and then a lot of niggas turned to betas, and I think that's where we at. Like, this we got to get back to what we was put on the earth to do, and that's conquer.
and
All right, listen, you're breaking up. You're going somewhere. Um, let's end on this note. We'll get back on. Maybe we'll do another live later or something like in a couple days. All right, man. I appreciate your time. We'll connect. Hey, we need to get together anyway this week. All right, let's get together. I'll send you a message or something. All right, talk to you later. Bye.